Hello and good evening, Free Enterprise fans around the world. Welcome to another Community Night race. Monday night, Tournament Edition. We're featuring, from ZZ5 upcoming, Blue Moon flags. And tonight I'm joined by NG Dave. Dave, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great tonight, Solaris. Also joining us, we have a restreamer S-Grunt, Rachel Levine, our tracker. And we're featuring 4 fantastic runners, Fried Potato, Mecha, Funnel Cakes, and J-Run TR.
Are you blue? Dabba dee dabba die? Dabba dee dabba die?
That song's gonna be stuck in my head now, thank you.
Thank Raging Levine for the objective, for the joke objectives. J-Brun feeling green here, even though all his characters are named Blue. That's actually perfect, but they're different capitalizations of the letters within Blue. Oh, okay, he is going blue now. It's funny.
There are a few ways you can go with that joke. Pure Blue's one, maybe I guess yellow would work. Just, I don't know, we have a problem with that on Restream, so maybe not.
Yeah, but we can talk briefly about the flags. So this is our upcoming tournament flags. We've got 2 of them. There's Blue Moon and Red Moon. Blue Moon is the slightly kinder set of flags, but the catch is the same for both. They're all boss hunts, all bosses all the time. So we're featuring the Fabul Gauntlet and Defeat Golbez, and then 6 other bosses that these runners are going to have to kind of find, defeat 7 of 8 to complete, to get the crystal so that you can then complete the seed. So Dave, how do you feel about boss hunts?
I'm a fan of full clearing seeds, so why not?
That's fair.
It's an interesting way to play it. It makes you think when you just go full face check, when you keep looking for key items. It rewards thinking about those kind of gambles.
Yeah, definitely. And bosses really don't care about key item gating logic, which I find very interesting. Case in point, Zot 1 could have one of the bosses you have. That's a check available at the start of the game. Also, before I forget, to let you all know, we will have an announcement at the end of this race. This is for the tournament upcoming. So definitely at the end, and we'll remind you at the end too, but stick around and Scala will come in and get y'all settled with some good news and info.
So looking at these flags, one thing I really enjoy is forced hook route here, because it means you don't have to worry about, does King Queen have a spot of a boss? You're checking it anyway.
Yeah, and you will have to contend with that hook route. And we're off to the start. We're a Sid and a Kane, which is actually a pretty interesting start here. Pan is the key item, and off to the races.
Now we're going to see where our runners decide to loot. Where would you be heading with this party?
So this party really wants to go to Eblin, but we have the See No Earn flag. In short, this means only free characters are available in this seed. This is another one of the catches. One of the really interesting things about this flag set. So, Watery Pass, Damsian, Mysidia, Ordeals, you're going to get 7 characters in total. That really changes where runners want to go, because it kind of takes you away from Eblin. Even though that's a place I'd really want to go. And we'll see where runners want to go. I see people splitting in basically 3 different directions here. Actually, no, 2.
That's a good point. Figure out who your party is first.
Yeah, so 2 runners want to know who their party is immediately. 1 is... Actually, no, 3... Okay, yeah, 3 went to Mysidia, and Fried Potato is heading over. Wants to get the free key item. Get that out of the way first. And it is the hook.
Well... That's our underground access.
It is, yep.
Well, Mysidia living up to its land is the name is the land of mages, giving us 2 of them.
Mysidia is an interesting start because something you can do is go to Mysidia and then go check the Ordeals character if you would like, and then run straight to Eblin. We see Funnel Cakes doing most of that strategy heading into Eblin Castle is still T Wildish. This place still has really good quality loot for both of these party members. The starters, at least.
Yeah, a little bit of weaponry. You know, mages don't exactly start off with power.
No, though they can get it. And it doesn't take much. You really just need to get through the Hobbs check. Hobbs does not have a character, funny enough, on this flag set because it's still an earned character. We saw, speaking of characters, we saw Edward in Watery Pass, and now Mecha has picked up Edge in Mount Ordeals. Edge is a pretty nice pickup there.
Yeah. So it looks like Mecha was listening too about going up Ordeals after Mysidia. And
yeah, we'll see if
with that Edge.
Yeah, good reward. See if he wants to run over to Eblin now. Eblin also very good for Edge. Eblin is so good because you can get like axes, you can get spears, you can get ninja swords. It's just like a wide variety of things that you could want to get.
You could also just pull a poison axe out of the Damsian treasury. Yeah,
it's very true. T Wildish kind of gets you good quality loot no matter where you go. Curse Ring out of Damsian. Funnel Cake's finding the monster in a box immediately after that, gonna reset. Might end up going back in just to grab that Curse Ring and whatever other goodies he saw within.
So, there's your white mage for the seed. One Tella.
Stardust Rod in the left tower here. Very good pickup.
Well, that'll get us through the first few checks. Just give the Stardust Rod Great Mages, have them wave it around a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, Tella is such a contentious character amongst our community. I guess we also have a Paladin, but anyone that can wear that Stardust Rod right now is kind of MVP in my book for Funnel Cakes.
Agreed. Just give me someone who can just swing a stick and do 600 damage.
Though now that we're kind of getting an idea, also Ninja Sword, Crystal Ring, Rune Axe at the very bottom there, the bottom right of the Eblin Tower. Yeah, Castle Eblin's still going to be really good on this flag set. Of course, Funnel Cakes doesn't know that an edge is coming, but we're going to see all of our runners, pretty sure, really check all their characters up front, get an idea of what their party composition is going to be, and then kind of get going from there.
So it looks like we have two possible compositions we can go with. You could lean into the Rydia and Talum and just go double nukes. Or we have some solid melee, just turn them loose.
So the big notable is that we are missing a primary white mage. Tella technically can cast Cure 4. You probably don't want to rely on it endgame, but it exists. So that's maybe first thing on runner's mind. Second thing is that with the Tella, with darkness showing up early enough, that will enable a D-Machine grind, and you can do a slingshot. Slingshot is enabled, and I mean, you could, for instance, leave a mage or two behind in Mysidia and then pick them up later for a slingshot. That's one way to go.
I think I've seen at least J-Bard and Mecha leave at least one mage behind, maybe thinking exactly that, stash a mage for now.
Yeah, especially when you've got the early power. I mean, you've got the Cane and the Edge, depending on where you've looted, what gear you've picked up. You really don't need much to get going, at least to get a chance to find a Darkness Crystal. Of course, the maybe issue with that is missing out on experience for those mages to do the hook route. It's always kind of a give and take.
And isn't that the real joy of playing this? Just, what decisions do you make? I was really expecting that to be a Darkness Crystal out of Antlion Cave.
Instead, just a Strength Ring. Funnel Cake's finding bows the best and worst thing to find here in Mist Cave. It's King Queen Eblin. You wish they were literally anywhere else. However, King Queen Eblin is an objective, so gonna go ahead and finish that and get his first objective, which will be half of an objective on our tracker.
Yeah, losing on our free boss, it's an objective. I think our rhinos will be fine with that trade.
Yeah, that's always a moment where you're like, God, why can't you be in the why can't you be where the hook route is instead?
Yeah, why can't you be vanilla or French vanilla? Fried Potato finding the trap in Evelyn Cave, and you love to see it there.
Yeah, it's always nice to find that trap really right away, because now Fried Potato, who might not have done a whole lot of looting this seed, probably didn't go to Eblin with that hook in hand, can just sort of loot the rest of this with impunity. Gets to check all the way back to who the boss is, could exit, can come back and shop. There's Leviathan in this item shop. Actually pretty good for Rydia right now.
There was also Leviathan in the third chest in Evelyn Cave.
Well, good thing we found it first.
Yeah, it'd be far worse for the fourth chest.
There's one thing I'm good at. It's it's purchasing an item I really want and then looting at kind of the chest right afterwards. Murasame here in the infirmary, a spot often not checked in Eblin. Pretty good pickup by Potato there.
No, that check may have just been because Potato knew it couldn't have been trapped.
Oh yeah, that's definitely probably the only time I go down there. Also, Dwarfax, out in a chest you often don't loot going down the hook route. Dwarfax being the only item that could back row Kane. Always happy to see that.
Yeah, this is honestly a fantastic Cave Evelyn so far.
Glass hat, rune ring. Yeah, pretty strong. T Wildish. It's it's pretty good for loot.
Yeah, just the wildest things, you know. Hey, if you want Tello to be a functional white mage, that's a life staff.
Fun fact, you can use that to cast the life spell, I believe, if you don't have life potions. All right, DKC is the hook route Rubicanti spot boss.
We have an Edward.
We do have an Edward. I don't know how much those dark waves hit for. That's really going to change up kind of how you want to approach that. Now, a Kane can jump one of the dark waves without really any setup required. He just has to survive the first. But I don't think it hits that hard. It would be a lot worse in the King-Queen spot. So that is mostly a free-ish boss, especially if Tele can cast Cure 4. Of course, he has to survive one wave, but...
Edge and Sid can almost just tank it now, have him chug a single Cure 2 and they're done.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of options. Kane can jump, Edge just kind of has health. If you choose to keep the Sid, which you very well might, Sid probably just survives on his own.
I think it basically still needs to chug a single potion, but I'll trade a pot. I'll trade a single healing pot to get through a hook route earlier.
Oh yeah, certainly. Now, it would be very, very, very bold to just run down immediately knowing that you could take out that spot, because there is still the King-Queen spot to contend with, and that is often very, very punchy.
I think Potato's Edge... I think that Edge can handle it right now with the glass hat.
Depending if he's got good weaponry, or if you've got good darts. Could certainly see it. As chat's pointing out, that's definitely a play you can make on the Falcon % seeds, where you just have to do the hook route to win the game. And if you get lucky with what that boss is, you just win. Pretty funny.
We've had a few of those in the Evelyn Splunking Club.
Dark Game Set Ordeals 1, getting a number of our freebies out of the way. That's 2 of them we've seen so far. Also, shout out to bottom left here, the piggy replaces the character icon sprite. I love this for Sino Earn. One of my favorite things.
Anywhere where you have to interact with a character to trigger an event, that character is now a piggy.
The best piggy by far in this game with that flag is when you get the package.
Yep.
Next time for fun, go do the package. And then... Oh wait, hold on a second. Bottom left here. Okay, that's Water Hag. Blue Robe in general is good because we need both of them. Water Hag is probably a blessing here. The spot can punch really hard, but 3 hits and we're out.
Decently punchy. 4,000 HP can be rough to get through for some parties. I don't mind seeing a freebie here.
No, not at all. No, this is a good spot for this. Dark Imps, which we see are at Ordeals 1, would have been much, much worse at Baron Inn 2. That's like one of the worst bosses you can find there.
We do see a little bit of French vanilla at Ordeals 2.
This is when you're late to the dance party. That's what I always think of with this.
Well, that's a plan given to our runners. We have a Tella, we have a Darkness, and we have a pair of mages.
Wow, Darkness for funnel cakes. Alright, so that is going to take funnel cakes immediately to Ordeals, and then really a good D machine is on the table. And then you get in a really funny position where you've got Darkness, you've done a grind, you're looking for bosses. You could go down that hook route, or you could just go straight to the moon.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if we don't see Funnel Cakes hightail directly to Ordeals after picking that up.
Now, when I first started playing these flags, I kept having the instinct of like, oh, Hook, that's a character check. Wait, no. Oh, Darkness, that's a character check. No, wait, no.
All these character checks, no. And worse, you don't even see the piggy there because you don't interact with the character.
Which actually, honestly makes diving the moon nice. You don't have the cutscene at all, so it doesn't waste your time. Yeah.
And it makes the hook of music because you see the boss there and the boss just kind of, scurries away from you.
That's also very funny, yeah. Anyways, back to the package briefly. If you do the package, the character is a piggy, and you could talk to them twice. Once when you're done, and the pig. Once when you're done, I'm just gonna say once when you're done, leave the inn, go back in, and then you can talk to them again. Worth your time to do so.
I think that's
Tower Key at Ordeals here.
Is that the only piggy you can actually interact with?
I believe so. I believe so.
This was honestly not a terribly rude Ordeals. Rearrange these bosses a little bit and you could have a disaster on your hands.
It's also nice to see some of these bosses out of the pool. Like Magus Sisters later on can be a real headache if you don't have mage sling gear like a Mute Dagger. Now the tower key is interesting because you've got a tower key and you've got a pan. If Potato full clears before going towards his hook route, he will end up getting Darkness out of the Baron Inn. The more key items that you have that take you underground, the more, I think, the more weight that's kind of pulling you to just do the hook route, even after you do like a D machine grind.
It's a very, very good point. I think all runners might decide to try to fade Fubul and get the single dip, starting with pan and hook immediately.
Yeah, that's definitely a common play, and it will work out this seed, unless it has exactly the magma key. But yeah, odds of that are pretty low.
The odds of that are approximately 0 unless the generator forks somehow.
Oh right. Force hook, you can't. Right. Yeah, you can't get the magma. Something interesting about doing the hook route too, and that it's forced versus taking that Darkness, just going straight to the moon, is that you do get to peek the top of tower boss at the end of that. On top of getting, of course, to see the King Queen boss spot. It's like a lot of things that change about how you want to approach these seeds when you're thinking about, I really need to find bosses.
And that's what I was alluding to at the beginning. How long? One of the kind of big points of tension in these seeds. When do you just stop looking for key items and face check all the bosses you can?
Yeah, well, and not even that, like, what checks do you prioritize because they have more bosses, like Dwarf Castle or Zot, or doing the moon because you get to face check a bunch of bosses and they all can have key items. That's very interesting.
4-pack of elephants invading Kabul. I can only assume Sid's got an Earth Hammer on. Does look like Mecha and Japer.
Potatoes. Oh. Earth Crystal. So I was going to say, we'll see if Potato gets paid out with this choice, and possibly so with the Earth Crystal. That is that is the treasury. It's two bosses. It's not it's two bosses. It's not no characters though.
Well, it's two bosses, and then let's peek a third.
Yep, you get to know the Dwarf Castle boss at the end. That's the Golbez spot.
We're 18 minutes in. That's still early treasury. And Possimorphic Chat is pointing out, that treasury is good enough. You might just say, I have enough gear, I'm going to go.
Possibly could. If you can get through the hook route and find yourself some sirens, that could very much be... Okay, so you get through the hook route, you find yourself sirens, or you could steal them because you have edge. And if you really are strong enough, I mean, you might angle towards getting 10 key items instead of doing that D-Machine in general. However, there's still an angle where you could just take those black mages and do a very quick slingshot D-Machine to get Redia and Palom up to nuke very quickly and blow up the seed that way. Those are two very viable routes through the seed.
And I'm hoping our runners choose different routes so we can see the divergence.
Yeah, for now, we're going to play Rate That Treasury.
Rate That Treasury!
Well, there's some Murasame. Bahamut's also... Bahamut's pretty good. Yeah, about that slingshot, it's looking a little less necessary. Bahamut is basically Mega Nuke. The only thing that makes Bahamut worse, kind of, quote-unquote worse, is that Bahamut, I believe, has a delay on it, casting it. And of course, Aromas really doesn't like when you cast summons against him.
I think Bahamut's a 6 delay, and Nuke is effectively instant.
Yeah, Nuke is instant. However, it's still effectively Nuke early game without having to do a grind. You just have to have the 60 MP for Redia to use it.
I think we can scrounge up 60 MP.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we can too.
I know it's a tall ask sometimes.
Well, it's funny, sometimes when you have a high-powered summon like that and you have Redia, you end up doing like a check and then realizing you have to use a tent. This happens to me on Ordeals all the time. So it's about the point where you have like maybe 80 MP, so you can't really cast it twice.
Yeah, I know that feeling. Or you're at like 95, you're just short of double Leviathan.
Of double Leviathan, yeah. But yeah, that Bahamut especially pulls me away from wanting to do a D-Machine. I still think there was a decent argument, even if Edge got all the gear in the world, just because 2 mages with Nuke is incredibly powerful. However, I think we've got enough. Let's just kind of call this. Get going. Don't D-Machine. Just get through the seed. Now, some of our runners may not end up doing this Fabul check. Like Funnel Cakes is going to end up doing it, but some other folks might either just do the D-Machine immediately or just go down the hook route.
No, I saw J-Bron go in, inspect the shops, and leave, and it looks like Funnel Cake's doing the same. So I think they're setting up for D-Machines, looking for ethers.
Yeah, J-Bron also finding the life potions, important for life glitching D-Machines. Also finding Soma Drop, going to give that to Tella. Very helpful because it lets you cast 4 weak spells in one go, because it costs 25 MP each. Just makes like managing his MP a lot easier. Also lets him cast Meteo.
Yeah, you gotta let the old man live his dreams sometime, you know, dropping rocks from the heavens.
Look, Stardust Rod Meteo, it's pretty okay.
That'll do literally thousands of damage.
You know what else will do thousands of damage? Bahamut.
Okay, so if a single D-Lunar gets hit, they choose the remedy counter over the fire counter. Interesting.
I don't know if it's special because the one died in the same kind of round of triggers there.
I've AoE D-Lunars killed one and the other one still fire countered.
Yeah. So that is another objective. That is the D-Lunars. We are looking for that boss. Of course, it's funny for the tracker. We found 3 halves of an objective for the tracker, effectively. But that's 3 bosses we've seen. King, Queen, Eblin, Water Hag, and D-Lunars.
Some blue armor at Dwarf 2, not an objective. While Funnel and Javen are getting ready, or getting set for their D-Money grind, looks like Mecha is just diving the hook route, or at least taking trap chests down there.
Yeah, Mecha seeing that DKC feeling strong enough to just take the gamble on what that King Queen spot is. Has a lot of power to be able to handle a number of bosses that could show up there. Just gonna get some experience and a chance at a decent item here out of the Mad Ogre's trap chest.
Ooh, well, that's a very required Zot.
Beware ye who fade Zot on this seed. That is objective D-Lunars into objective Alt Gauntlet. Now, funny enough, Zot is not technically fully hard required. You could fade Fabul forever and find all of your bosses and then just do Zot 1 as your final boss. It's not going to work out that way, but there's a world where that exists. I just want to put that up there.
I don't like this world.
I don't either. I don't want to be in that world. I want to watch that world, though.
Okay, fine, Escrunt. Zot 1 is hard required because you can't get to Zot 2 without passing through it.
Mecha finding a crystal sword out of those 4 Mad Ogres down the hook route.
Well
No Cecil in sight yet. Oh, yeah, but it's, earned. Well, you know what? That is worth a pile of money, and it's also very funny.
That's the important part, it's funny.
Yeah.
And that's like 15 sirens.
Or, hear me out. You get a carrot.
Ah!
You give it to a chocobo. And then you stick the crystal sword in there for safekeeping.
Hey, Chocobo's got to eat too.
I'm loving the divergence here. Mecha gunning straight for this hook route. Potato taking on that Zot check, and then Funnel Cakes and Jay Brunner both taking encounters on the Giant. What is happening here, Dave?
We're seeing the beginning of a flag set where no meta has been established. Best part of it.
That's a good way to put that.
This hook route 1, on the other hand, that is not what you want to see at this spot.
Yeah, Mom Bomb might be the worst boss you can find here. It might single-handedly be the worst boss. You gotta punch through 7,000-ish whatever health. It gets 9,000 extra. You're probably not taking that out. And then you're gonna have to survive this explosion, which you will, and then have a character, ideally, who can take out these 4 little bombs. Or sorry, the 6 little bombs. Mecha seems pretty well set up for it, too.
If you got any sort of J item, a Stardust Rod use,
Yeah, Stardust would do it.
Spread Virus cast.
But these bombs are all gonna get to punch. Tell it with the virus. Does Mecha in the top right get there? No.
And tell us about to have a very bad day, I think.
I think if that was a Stardust Rod use instead, might have survived. Close. Very, very close. Unfortunate.
Yeah, Stardust Rod easily sweeps those bombs.
I think if he changes the battle speed down a bit and kind of goes back in and understanding what that fight is now, might prepare, like, circ somebody else up, have Edge prepared to... We see him doing a little bit of preparation here. He'll be better set up now. Now that he knows what the fight is, he can go in prepared.
And get Edge safely tucked away in the back row with a ranged weapon.
Back in against the Mom Bomb. Sid nearly goes down. Edge gonna throw out a swing there. That looked like a full moon, I want to say. Yep. Sid is very dead. Pretty okay targeting, honestly. He might be the character you're most okay with dying. Rydia going down. Kane getting a jump in the air. Tella going down. That, not what you want to see. Keg goes down.
No,
this is a wipe. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see Edge bringing this one home. Unless you have some sort of J item to try to handle the baby bombs. We see on the bottom, Jabron found the wrong check, and that's a horseman.
Yeah, so what's going on at the bottom of the screen here is the D machine manipulation. We're trying to find the fight with the searcher that summons the dragon machines. I know most of us in our community are familiar with this, but for anyone who might happen to not be, you find the machine dragon, you weak it down to single target hit point, you do an attack to it, you throw a life glitch at it, and then you repeat this maybe 6 to 12-ish times or whatever, and that gets you end game levels. However, the worst part about this manipulation on the giant, if you're not prepared for it, is that there's actually two. The searcher double beamer can be D machines, but it could also be those horsemen. And the chart that we use, there are a couple spots that are ambiguous about what fight you're going to get. So it looked like Jabron kind of got punked there for a moment.
Yeah, finding the wrong encounter, not... We've all done that, and then looked at the chart like, wait, what?
Between that and the chart being different from the Baron Manip chart, like the way to read and understand it, a lot of members in our community are not really fans of doing this manip on the giant, and I kind of can't blame them. My argument for doing so and learning so this tournament is going to be that you get to check the boss here on the giant before you do this, in case you don't care about slingshots. So I think it's going to be good to learn.
Yeah, we did see Funnel Cakes accidentally weak the searcher. Hopefully Funnel Cakes knows to lob a Cure 4 there.
Meanwhile, Mecha looking much better set up, able to get his full party through to the Little Bomb's part, and Rydia is charging Leviathan. She does need to not go down. All right, Leviathan goes off. Mecha's through the fight.
That'll very easily wash these bombs away.
And wash the bad taste out of his mouth, I'm sure, because that fight was not fun.
No. No, Funnel Cake. There's got to be a Cure 4 spell. Those things have enough magic defense that Cure 2s aren't going to heal them.
What did the Cure 2 heal for? Did you see it?
1.
Oh no, yeah, that's scary.
I mean, as long as you're just throwing Thor Rages, they'll only do 1 damage, so you won't immediately accidentally end your grind early.
No, but the weak, I believe weak takes the target down to single-digit hit points, 1 through 9.
Yep, random number 1 to 9.
Yeah.
And we'll see how hard this Dark Knight hits. Yeah, it's okay. 340.
Yeah, so Sid gets through this for free. You could jump with Kane. Actually, he might not survive the second wave. There's actually a delay on jumps, so it wouldn't have gone off right away. But yeah, Edge and Sid will survive. He might even choose to pick up somebody else to get the experience on them. Yeah, picks up Rydia. Potato also ultimately choosing to take that D-Machine grind. Very, very alluring. Early darkness, early tele.
Yep, and before this we did see Potato go by, I looked like 7 Ether 2s, so plenty of fuel for the old man.
If you don't find Ether 2s, Ether 1s do in a pinch. If you don't find Ether 1s, a Lilith Rod lets you steal from your party members. Edge is a perfect MP battery.
Agreed, he doesn't do much else with it.
Yeah, not doing much with it otherwise.
Mecha will be the first underground through that hook route.
Finds a stinky outline at top of tower. That is not an objective. That's not a fast fight to take. Has the tower key. He's got a lot of incentive to drop the airship right now and run up that tower. It's just, outline's kind of gross. It's not very difficult, it's just time consuming because of the counters on it. And it still hits like kind of hard.
Speaking of things that are gross, that is 65k of Wyvern.
So if there's a boss behind that Wyvern, I'm not sure we're ever finding it.
I don't think we're ever gonna see it with the CPU. Is he? Funnel Cake's done with his grind.
Stardust, Nuke, Palom online. Rydia, I assume, also online with Nuke. Yep, level 50. That's a pretty strong start here. We're only 33 minutes into the seed. Now the fun thing about this for me with this flag set is that these seeds aren't all going to go like this because you won't always get Tele.
Right, and even if you do, the darkness might be buried.
Mecha showing us the Pan Bonk. It's a legend sword, which is functionally useless. It is a key item though. Funnel Cake's taking on this Wyvern.
I fully expected Funnel Cakes take one Wyvern and make a U-turn.
Yep, there's the U-turn. I respect the I'll try this and see what it's like. Nah, never mind. I'm out.
Nope, that Mega Nuke's way too spicy.
Chat pointing out that technically Super Forge. So Super Forge is on. It gives you literally any of the GBA weapons. One of any of them. It technically could be something useful. You could get a stat stick. You could get one of 3 useful weapons for Edge. You could even get something for Sid.
You could also get a Lightbringer.
Or scrap metal.
I'm trying for Lightbringer this seed.
Apollo Harp would also be very funny. Or whichever of those harps is the really good Edward one.
Loki.
Loki harp would be really funny. Edward technically in the seed. Technically.
I think I agree, that would be funnier. Because everyone's ditched Eddie.
Funnel Cake showing us the last arm trapped chest. Very, very good weighting on this trap. Last time I did this in one of my Red Moon seeds, I got a crystal sword out of here.
Oh, nice. A T-Pro crystal sword. That's, what, a 10%er? 5%er?
Just a silver apple. I think it's worth checking that, though. I mean, you can get any number of pretty good stuff. Didn't take very long either.
Yeah. Not even a good apple. A stinky silver apple.
Yeah. Alright, so here's the question on my mind. After this D-Machine grind for all 3 of these runners, where are we going? Probably the hook route. Probably, but we could go to the moon.
Could go to the moon, could detonate the hook route. Honestly, with double nuke, the world pretty much is your oyster. That's the advantage of going underground is it'll lead you to doing the pan bonk, which will lead you to getting the earth crystal, which will lead you to 2 bosses.
Yeah, again, there's definitely a lot pulling me underground right now with the tower key and pan. Tower key also gating a boss.
And warp glitch is on, so you can theoretically clear all the key items out down there.
Yeah. You would have to think that the moon has multiple required key items that gate bosses as your incentive to do it over just running straight underground, because there are a lot of bosses that just are underground, and you get to peek top of tower. There's the Fey March, the Dwarf Castle,
and Mecha has access to all of them. That's a Luca key.
Not just a Luca key, but a spoon. Mecha does have access to Spoonward. I don't actually expect that he brings Edward back out, unless Edward is still in this party. Which it might be, because I think he just took the party he had and ran straight down. No, I don't see it, Edward.
Mecha is the only one who might have any incentive to go Spoonward, because he's the only one who didn't do a D-Machine grind.
Yeah, my issue with Spoonward was that Adamant Cup proved that Spoonward, even with an Adamant armor, can kind of be a trap, just because of how horribly squishy he is. You can back row him on this flag set, which is very, very, very important for a squishy Spoonward. Makes that a lot more palatable. But then he just becomes a huge liability at Ceromus, because he just doesn't have the health.
That's true. If Zeromus decides to hit the 50-50 and toss a nuke Eddie's way, he goes splat.
If there's anything Zeromus loves to do to my party, do to my party with the Edward in it and the Spoonward, it's to destroy that Spoonward immediately.
Hey, that just means Zeromus knows who the real threat is.
Zeromus looking at Edward like, ugh, not you again. Every time I see you, you waste a half hour of my time. The Edward strats.
Like, think about it, guy with a shining sword. Villains see that all the time. That's passe. Guy coming in singing, wielding a spoon. That's the threat you gotta watch out for.
Guy coming in singing with a spoon who can also hide in like a space-time pocket away from anything and everything. Yes, that is terrifying.
Now I'm thinking of the scene from Men in Black where it's that girl with the books that are way too advanced. That was the real problem.
Jabron really intent on taking on this Wyvern. Needs to set up Star Veils and then kind of keep up with basically once Wyvern goes into nuke mode, the way I end up getting through these fights is so long as you're like at parity and constantly picking up party members that drop, it gets a lot easier to kind of manage, but really intent on taking this boss and seeing who the boss after is.
It's an interesting gamble.
Hey, if one of our required bosses is at the CPU spot, Jabron will have a massive, massive advantage.
Jabron's charging up a Chocobo summon.
Chocobo comes out. Wyvern says, "You used a summon. I'm gonna mega nuke," and hurt myself. A good strategy.
So the upshot here, I think 2 of the characters in Jabron's party cannot fall to a single nuke. It simply doesn't do 2,000 damage.
That poor Palom.
What? Palom was at one time a blink for nuke.
But yeah, what Jabron's going to have to start doing is pick up party members. You don't want to lose the tempo of the fight, meaning that the more party members you lose, the more people you have that can act, that can pick up party members, and you start to lose the tempo of the fight and start losing party members faster than you can kind of get through. But yeah, Jabron making sure to pick up that Palom, even if he's just a target for nuke. over and over and over again. Which is a little frustrating because he's the guy with nuke, but it's fine.
I was like, I know how it feels. This is terrible. Little do we know, Edward slapped his nuke meat sticker on Palom's back.
Kane barely surviving that nuke there.
I thought nukes were 3 rolls coming out of Wyvern. Why is this doing damage like it's 2?
Might be some amount of evasion on the characters. I don't know. Palom's still dying. Chat pointing out that this Palom doesn't have nuke. I'm not sure if J-Brun's D-Machine went sideways or if he had to cut it short. I'm assuming Palom didn't get a slingshot and Rydia did, considering Rydia has more health.
That makes perfect sense. Yeah, it may have cut a little
which actually gives a lot more. It helps explain why he's doing this, because the Wyvern is experienced for Palom. It's just a little frustrating that Palom keeps dying. Also, 2 Star Veils have dropped now. That's a big problem. If we're not in Remedy mode for Wyvern, this might be a wipe.
I don't think Wyvern ever gets to Remedy mode.
Is that health-based? Or how does that script work?
It's when wall runs out, it remedies. And that Wyvern is already 1.
Okay, yeah, so that would take way too long. Yeah, so this is where. Yeah, this is probably where you really need to reset, because we're gonna get a life out, we're gonna go throw a nuke, we're gonna get a life out, we're gonna throw a nuke. Like, you never really recover from this.
And no one has
unfortunately.
No one's able to dodge 3 rolls of nuke, so you're not getting out of this cycle.
Yeah, and actually Wyvern's even a little bit faster than that. J-Burn having to take an unfortunate wipe there.
Taylor's gonna show what we were talking about with the Lunar Palace. You could just waltz right in.
Yep, no cutscene here. No one on the Lunar Dais. No one home. We need like a sign next to it that says like, like no one home, leave a message, and like randomize what the sign says every seed.
Yes.
That would be great.
Lunar Dais, the only spot untouched by capitalism.
So we are seeing that divergence I was speaking of. We see Fried Potato heading to the moon pretty early here, and Funnel Cakes ran through the hook route and is taking on the outline at the top of tower now. Much more palatable when you have double nukes to get through it quickly.
That's an objective on the moon. Although...
Yeah, the Murasame altar having Golbez, that is part of objective number 1 for Fried Potato. It's also pretty rude when the Murasame spot has something that you need, because runners really, really love to do their bottom up with the moon. And when they do, this ends up being a last location.
So, how many bosses have we seen so far? 4? You've seen Gauntlet, King Queen, Water Hag, and D-Lunars, right?
Yeah, I believe it's 4. And it's also unfortunate. Well, yeah. It will be 1 full objective for Potato at the end of this, who also did the Full Gauntlet.
As has Mecha. Mecha also has 1 from each slot, having just completed the Tower of Zot. It looks like Mecha is going to... Honestly, we might just be face-checking the rest of the blue planet.
As far as gating key items, we are still missing the Baron Key, the Twin Harp, the package, which is always a contentious one. Luca is a spot to chuck. Dwarf Castle, of course.
Okay, I've never forgotten about the package in a recent async. And it had value.
I had a seed I ran of a Red Moon where I did a D machine, and then so I did an early D machine like the seed, and then found D-Mist on that flag set where D-Mist can give a key item. D-Mist gave the package. Package had a boss behind it. Which is not fun. Also quiz, I'm gonna fail this one. Who is the Bagan spot boss?
I don't remember, so I'm gonna say Bagan.
Hopefully our runners paid attention, because it could be one of the required bosses. Though I feel like chat would have pointed that out. Chat's usually got our back.
Our restreamer Escrunt thinks it was Luge, which would make Baron Key a required key item.
Yep. Alright, Rat Tail from the tower.
Seems useful.
I don't think top of tower, I kind of missed it. I don't think it had a key item.
Nah, there was nothing of value up there.
Funnel Cake's immediately heading to Dwarf Castle. Good chuck. 2 bosses. Doesn't know that the second boss isn't an objective boss because Funnel Cakes hasn't done football defense yet. Doesn't have that Earth Crystal.
But you would do this anyway because that's vanilla in the first spot.
Yep. That is Vanilla Calbrena. That will be... So that's boss number 6 we've seen?
That is.
Yeah.
Well, Funnel Cakes and Jape Run have not caught up Zot yet, so they're missing those 2.
So that means we're 1 boss away from no mode. Technically, no mode meaning we know where all the bosses are.
And there's a very good chance we're going to find one of the remaining 2 bosses as our runners go down the moon. Thank you for it in chat pointing out it was in fact Luge. So the only boss whose location we don't know is Mylon Z.
That makes the CPU check very unlikely. We'll see though. Jabron very well getting through that very difficult Wyvern fight. Gets his reward of checking the CPU boss spot. Eyes on the bottom right. Just Bahamut. It is free.
I was hoping for Mylon Z. How about you?
Yeah, oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, gives you a
Mylon Z would have been
for
so great.
It gives you a better reward for getting through that. The 150k here should be enough to push Palom to nuke at least.
Yeah, the EXP is certainly a good reward. Also, chat putting out this giant is full blarg. Just
yeah, just giant about
literally
powered by
all the
Mega
blarg.
Nuke.
We came here to get nuke. We came here to fight Mega Nuke. This is the giant of nuke. Much better way to put that, Grunt. Nuclear powered giant.
How do you power your giants?
Magic?
Fair.
I don't know.
It really depends on the kind of setting we're in.
Final Fantasy games always tend to skirt that line between like fantasy and like a little bit of sci-fi. On the scale of like sci-fi to fantasy, FF4 leaning very hard into fantasy, but then of course you've got the Lunar Whale, you've got the towers.
Yeah, I think Final Fantasy really didn't start leaning heavier into the sci-fi aspects until 6, which was more steampunk than sci-fi.
Right, yeah. But even like Final Fantasy 1 has that Warmech enemy in it, and that entire tower. Also, what was that? Odin and
Odin and a turtle, I think.
in the Feymarch? Yeah.
That's I will fight you never.
Yeah. Those are gross fights there. Fully powered up, I mean, you certainly can do them. I think Funnel Cakes doesn't feel a lot of incentive to spend the time on them. Really just wants to find bosses. Feels pretty okay with just fading it.
Hey, it's a perfectly reasonable play.
Potato, continuing his moon clear, gets a pink tail from the Crystal Sword altar for his troubles.
That's a twin harp for Mecha.
Twin Harp's one of those rewards I kind of never want to see. It's great for chat. You do have incentive because there is a boss. That is a boss chuck.
We found our sirens at Dwarf Castle if we're looking to take a grind.
Yeah, so that puts that play in mind for Mecha here of, I have the power, I have what I need, I'm not going to bother to do this D machine. I have enough strength to get through quickly enough to make up for the fact that I didn't spend the time getting Nuke. And he's actually got 10 key items already, so he could do those sirens immediately.
Yeah.
And get great value out of them.
Go collect the Palom, you'd need, what, 12 sirens?
Something like that. Rydia needs 30 at base level, but she's not base level.
Right, and Palom would slingshot off the first one. So that would effectively count for 2.
Looks like the Rat Tail had the Baron key. That is no mode. Of course, Funnel Cakes does not know where that Golbez is.
And if Funnel Cakes paid better attention than we did and knows it's Luge there, we'll be incentivized to immediately head over to Baron.
Yeah, I mean, Baron is, chat's rightly pointing out, Baron, even if you kind of forgot, it's still 3 bosses that you very much want to... The Baron, I think, is highly incentivized on these flags. Unless the Luge spot isn't a boss, but then it's still like 2 boss checks. It's, of course, still a little slow, but... Yeah, and Funnel Cakes is in face check mode. Looks like chose to take a reset. Paused a moment, though, on his save screen here.
Yeah, Funnel Cakes loaded up the wrong seat, I think.
Okay. We might have lost some progress.
Yeah, because one of those saves had a playtime of 1:20, which is slightly impossible given we've only seen a seed for 55 minutes.
Oh, that's really unfortunate.
And Funnel Cakes losing the entirety of Dwarf Castle.
Well, Funnel Cakes knows that, yeah, it's unfortunate to take that, that reset loss. Probably something to do with the emulator. At least knows what's down in the Feymarch, if, he has not done that yet. In this timeline.
Yes, and now we're going to discuss alternate timelines. Speaking of fantasy and sci-fi tropes.
How about the timeline where Mylon Z exists? Where would it have to be kind of like fair for this race?
Well, I was hoping, at Twin Harp getting the Baron key.
Yeah, that would have been the better alternate timeline, huh? It still would be very good for Mecha, who's incentivized to check that harp.
Or how about right here?
Or he's just hanging out. Schrodinger's Mylon Z has been found. He's just hanging out in the White Spear altar.
Unfortunately for chat, we're not getting any harp music today.
Mecha might still do harp. Mecha does not have a lot of information about... doesn't have all this information right about where these bosses are. I still think, if you're following the math, and Mecha's very much a player who loves to follow the math, the Twin Harp is a very good fade, because you've just got so many more bosses available on the moon, but we'll see.
Mecha needs 2 more bosses and knows where one of them is. It's only in need of 2 more bosses for go mode. We know the play. That means that we know the play for Mecha and Final Cakes is hightail it to the moon.
Yep, the sooner they do that, the better for them. Meanwhile, Potato is going to have a lot of checks underground to kind of find his way towards that Baron key.
Potato doesn't need the Baron key.
Gauntlet, Golbez. Alright, what does he have then?
Potato just needs to go to Dwarf Castle.
Because he's got...
Mylon Z will be 6.
He did Water Hack, so he'll have Calbrina, Mylon C, D-Lunars, yeah. It'll actually be a lot faster for him. Nice Crystal Sword.
Not as... Okay, not as he's just taunting our runners.
Also, huge shout out to our tracker tonight. This layout only handles, I think, up to 5 objectives just for 4 players. Our 2-player layout does handle up to 8 objectives, or it will. But yeah, I should say it will. But huge shout out to Raging Levine here. Tracking is not an easy job.
Agreed. Great job, Raging Levine. Tracking a 4-player race is hard enough. Having to track it and deal with objectives like this.
And shout out to S-Grunt. We would not have any of this without a S-Grunt doing the restreams here. And then there's maybe us. We're okay, right, Dave?
Yeah, we try. We try, right?
We do indeed. We try the things. We do the words. Sometimes they make sense. Sometimes they don't.
Sometimes we make terrible jokes and chat groans, and those are the best kind.
Meanwhile, fried calamari for Potato.
It's been a long time since I've had calamari.
Fried calamari is one of those overhyped foods for me. It's like everywhere I go and I get it, it's just never... I have had very good fried calamari, but like... I don't know.
That's
it's often
true.
just like tasteless.
I think the problem is if it gets overdone, it just turns into rubber.
My friends are always like, oh, we gotta get the fried calamari, and I'm like, okay, I guess, sure.
And then there's a 50-50 chance you just basically are chewing on a tire for the next hour. Seriously, I've had bad calamari. That's effectively what it is.
I don't know why the image of just a hard chewing on just like tire rubber is doing me in right now, but anyway, here's Dr. Luca.
Yeah, something to distract us from food talk.
But food is so good.
It is. Oh no, I think we got chat started. Rivet Quest. Don't microwave the octopus, kids. Very good advice.
It is true. We've only had the one like French vanilla, so not enough ice cream in this seed.
We've had one scoop of vanilla. It was a very important scoop.
And now that moment where we get to fly around the lunar whale to wherever we're trying to go.
Oh,
Potato making the very cheeky check of the package. Yep, this is a boss. Now, we have seen all the bosses, right? So we know that this isn't anything, but
correct.
I very much respect the check. Especially since you bothered to get the package, assumably from the moon.
It came from the calamari spot.
Yep. This is following those, this is where you put all your chips in. You're like, all right, I spent the time to get this package. I'm going to go all in and continue spending my time instead of hedging my bets. I'm all in. Plus, we get to see the pig in the town.
It's a good play to make if you're trying to win in a group race.
Absolutely.
Hedging your bets is a way to guarantee you finish in the middle of the pack.
It is, versus trying to make a big win. And I'm telling you, there is going to be enough races in our upcoming tournaments where some of those races, not a large portion, but some of those races are going to be won because somebody chose to find a required boss behind something like the package. It's going to happen.
It wouldn't surprise me if Potato's doing this because he hasn't gone underground yet and is just hoping to fade the hook rat entirely.
Some folks I shall not name are not particularly fans of the package, Chuck. Fair enough. Now, in many more of those cases, statistically, folks will make a play like Potato is making and not be rewarded for it, unfortunately. But it's one of those things that exists. That is a thing that you can do, and I think that's very interesting from a player perspective and from a viewer perspective.
And I can also see the play. I went to the moon. I full clear look for key items. I'm going to follow what I found.
Exactly. And unfortunately, for that one didn't pay out. Slightly unfortunate because Potato still got paid out pretty well by 2 bosses being on the moon. So all he's got to do is get to that dwarf castle.
Funnel Cakes is going to give us a music check.
I guess Funnel Cakes hasn't gone to the moon, correct? So doesn't know the 2 bosses are there? Yeah.
I believe Potato is our only runner to have visited the moon so far.
Funnel Cakes might be like me when I'm on Restream. I love doing the Twin Harp because it's just Restream tax, right? You do it for the people.
Right. It's a community race. Everyone loves the music. If this were a race in the upcoming CC5 event, I would probably be fading this harp. But on Restream, sure. Or in a community race, sure, why not?
Paladin, you're gonna take... That is one way to get through this cutscene a little bit faster. Just nuke yourself.
Put yourself in a microwave with that calamari.
Just these kids chose violence. Oh, okay. Well, I have to put myself together. Okay, music is gonna happen. Yes. Enjoy.
While we recover, enjoy the music, everyone.
Literally a nuke magnet. Yeah, so Val, not quite a fan of of magic at that spot. Immune to nuke. Still could have gotten through it with Edge, but looks like Funnel Cakes just says, nah, it's not my boss. I don't really care what this key item is. I'm just gonna move on.
The good news is that's going to push Funnel Cakes directly to the moon.
Yes, it's very good for him. Do you know what that Twin Harp song was? Because I do not.
Chat?
Maybe Chad will have her back.
Tito Cat? Help?
It had like a bit of familiarity for me, but I just wasn't sure. Our resident harpist Xenocat saying it might have been Scotland from DuckTales 2, perhaps.
Ooh. Wait, there was a DuckTales 2?
I wouldn't be surprised. Big shout out to Xenocat and Calmlamity for those Twin Harp songs. There are hundreds in the pool. They're pretty freaking amazing.
Yeah, we're at what, like 400 plus?
I don't know. I just say hundreds at this point.
Yeah, now I think about it, does it kind of... I can see it being DuckTales.
All right, Funnel Cake's headed to the moon. Not gonna chuck. So here's the bottom up that runners love to do. It will get him to that Mylon Zed.
And on the bright side, with no pass in hand, Funnel Cakes will be able to just walk straight down after that fight.
Yeah, will play out pretty well for him.
I think that may that I think about it may have been part of the reasoning to stay and clear as much of blue planet as possible first. But on a boss hunt, it's a good strategy.
Yeah, boss hunts meaning you don't have to go anywhere to really turn anything in. If you could find a boss on the moon, it gives you your crystal, you can just go.
Yeah, without a pass, you'd ideally make this trip once.
Yeah, and I mean, bottom up is still, I mean, it's the smart play on a lot of seeds just because the density happens to be at the bottom of the moon. Really, Funnel Cakes would only be punished if, I would say, the Murasame altar was the only spot that had a boss on it. But we know that's not the case. We know Mylon Zed's just hanging out right there,
Yep,
there in this room.
Gonna find it immediately. Jabbern finding the adamant rock. We might get to see what the Supersmith Forge is this seed.
Feechuk said I really want it to be a really good weapon for Jabbron. Like a Mutsuno. That'd be awesome.
Oh yeah. Let's get greedy then. Let's go for the big one.
Oh, the Abel's Lance?
Abel's Lance.
Yeah. God, that weapon is so fun.
chat pointing out a very important fact. Funnel Case hasn't cleared the Tower of Zot yet.
Yeah, I kind of had in mind that Funnel Cakes wasn't near Go mode yet, but I just, tracking 4 people, I couldn't quite decide what it was in the moment. But yeah, it doesn't have that Earth Crystal, hasn't done Zot.
You know what threw me? Funnel Cakes had that emulator problem at Football Castle.
Yeah,
where the
well,
Earth Crystal comes from.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, he chose to, I think, reset that anyways. Or maybe it was an accident. I don't really know now. But it would make sense to check the boss, be like, I don't need this boss, and reset. So yeah, Funnel Cakes will end up being punished for doing the bottom up because that Murasame altar is going to be the last thing he checks.
Well, in this case, it's not going to matter as much because we know Zot 1 is hard required.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, yeah, it gets real tricky. It's really, really tricky. You could check Zot 1. It's certainly going to do cave value.
So in that case, it's going to be Potato's going to have the first one to have crystal in hand.
Yeah, Potato's got that crystal now. Potato is in Go mode. Got through that second part pretty quickly. Already powered up, ready to take on Zeromus.
And the Supersmith weapon is Nirvana. That's a staff that exists.
I believe Tella technically can use it. It's functionally a life staff, which I think we found just hanging out in Eblin. At least for Funnel Cakes. I don't know that Jabron has it.
I believe that is Porum's weapon.
Yes, the way we split this up in the randomizer is that there's I think 2 weapons for Porum and 2 weapons for Palom, and each of them kind of gets split between whether, like, for the 2 weapons for Palom, one of them Tella can use, one of them Fusoya can use, and then the same for the White Mage sticks.
Right, I believe the Triton Dagger is Palom shares with Fusoya and shares the Asura Rod with Tella.
Now, I will point out, this is a community race. We've got 4 people on Restream, but 23 runners are actually in this race right now. And, of course, as I'm starting to say this, I was going to say we have no finishers, but we do. We have 1 first-place finisher. That is Rybon with a time of 1 hour, 15 minutes, 16 seconds. So Fried Potato is fighting for 2nd place. Was going to say he was fighting for 1st, but Rybon just got the snipe there.
Rybon, not content with just sniping other runners, he decided to also snipe the commentary team.
Right, that Rybon guy's pretty good, huh?
He's pretty good at this game.
Pretty skilled at this game.
And also pretty skilled at comedic timing, it seems. So I'm going to guess that Rybon, found the 6 bosses on the blue planet, then found 1 on the moon and just walked straight down.
Very possible. It's that or full cleared the moon and then ran to Dwarf Castle. I think those are both pretty viably quick ways through the seed. The underground way is certainly faster, though. So that's probably what happened.
Right, because the underground way would also have led to finding Baron Key and getting the boss check there.
Yep.
And chat's pointing out, yeah, you don't have a choice. You have to go to Zot at some point.
You do. It's just a matter of when, but... Yeah, so to finish the seed out quickly in a way that actually makes any logical sense, it's a lot better if you go... A lot better if you do Zot before the moon. Because leaving Zot last will be pretty difficult for runners. Like, we might end up seeing here with Funnel Cakes. Funnel Cakes will get through Golbez, and then it's kind of a question of where to go from here.
Plus, as I alluded to before, one trip down the moon, 1 cutscene to the moon. That's a lot of time you're saving.
Yeah, for sure. There's going to be a lot of interesting things. I think it's nice how you pointed out at the start when everyone diverged paths. It's like we're seeing a meta that's very much not solved yet. And of flag sets that we've run for tournaments, for clubs, etc., like all boss hunts, I don't think is a thing we've really done before. So at a competitive level, the meta really isn't going to be solved, I think, for a little while, which is interesting.
As Potato's making this walk, I'm seeing a Z flag showing up in chat. Yeah, there we got some more flags. What are those about?
I believe those are for the Milan Z fan club. I was trying to come up with a new one, and I just on the spot, I don't know. Performance anxiety, maybe.
Hey. You don't know, Milan Z can have all sorts of fans.
So this is Zoromus. Zoromus is the big bad. We don't really like to move where he is, because you really don't want a big bang to the face at, like, Baronin. That wouldn't be fun. So, always Zoromus at the end, but instead of randomizing that boss, we randomize who Zoromus is. Could be one of hundreds of sprites at this point. Dave, you want to do the honors?
And we have one more question we need to ask for the seed, and that is, whose butt are we going to kick tonight? And such other questions as, is it cute?
I'm always voting for creepy butts. There aren't that many of them, but the ones that are in the pool are pretty bad.
Or the butts that make you just go, what?
There are so many good sprites. I could spend an entire race's time just talking about them.
Some of the eldritch horror of butts. We've got a few.
It's a nice callback to Scala earlier asking, is Edward part Eldritch, considering he can hide into a pocket of space-time.
Speaking of eldritch horrors, I think this one counts.
Is this from Mother? What is this boss from?
This is from Mother.
The first one?
I believe this sprite's from the first one.
Yeah, I've played some of that game, but I never finished it.
If you played Phantom Transfusion the original NES, I don't blame you. That game was not well balanced at the end.
It's not surprising. Mother series is so great, though.
Like
the also known as the Earthbound series.
I remember just getting from out a toy at the end, just staying heckin' and hacking 10 levels on my party because I got sick of it. If you want to put a massive difficulty spike for no reason in front of me, I'm going to find a way around it.
I suppose I don't really miss those days in the like early NES and maybe SNES days where gameplay balance was just not really a thing we understood that well or cared about. A lot of games had the arcade mentality of just, being as impossibly difficult as possible.
So it looks like Potato's just going to go with Reflect strats, having the two black mages bouncing nukes. And
Yeah, this should be a pretty easy fight for Potato.
This strategy works by bypassing Zoromus' HP refill after 45,000 damage to the dealt, because counter scripts don't trigger on reflected spells.
Yep, and bosses can only have 65,000-ish hit points max. It's because of memory limitation, so a way around that was to have a refill script that lets you refill the hit points and effectively have, more than that number of hit points.
Yeah, the exact limit is approximately 2 to the 16th minus 1.
Yep.
They try giving bosses more HP it would do bad things to the code and probably more sword space needed, and we don't do that.
But because of that fun quirk, we get reflect strats, which is pretty neat for the randomizer.
Yes, it is. It's bouncing nukes. Edge and Sid are going to sit there play chemist if needed.
And we're done.
Yeah,
GG's to fried potato.
Fried Potato coming in 6th place overall.
Yep, with a time of 1 hour, 23 minutes, and 0 seconds flat, and we'll see if we can get him in for an interview shortly.
All right, now I would like to give a shout out to Mike, John Burkhead, Anthony Allen from Mary Knight, finishing 2nd through 5th in this race.
And we are joined by Fried Potato. GG's Potato.
GG.
GG's Potato.
That was fun.
So, let's just ask the generic question. What'd you think of this seed overall?
Yeah, no white mage. This is actually the first time that I've run one of these where I haven't gotten a typical white mage, so that was interesting for sure. Something I had to. It didn't dawn on me at first until I was like halfway through Ordeals. I was like, wait a minute, this is all I have, and I'm glad I had that early Ashura, I guess. Not that it really mattered in the end, but. Yeah, it definitely changed how I approached a lot of it. I don't typically do a D machine, but I wanted to get a bunch of levels real quick because I knew I needed them. I should have done a few more D monies, I guess, but it worked out.
Did you end up falling short of like a spell or something?
Yeah, I didn't get either of them to nuke. I wasn't super concerned about it because I knew I was going to go clear most of the moon, so I definitely wasn't like super stressed about it. I just would have liked a little more than what I got, but I didn't want to spend a ton of time there. I don't like just spending a whole lot of time doing the D machine grind.
Yeah, certainly. That makes a lot of sense.
And I'm not as smooth at it, so I figure I have to cut my losses sometimes and just leave a little early and go get the rest of the XP elsewhere.
Well, that's smart. I mean, to take the experience you can and run, basically, right? It did you very well here, being first place overall, at least on Restream here, and 6th place within 23 player race. I mean, very well done.
Yeah, I'm not super sad, and a lot of the people that finished before me are definitely, I mean, everybody who's racing is awesome, but there's some people that I definitely know to watch out for. Rybon, Mike, Plumeria, all very good runners.
Yeah, and you are certainly within that list of names, my friend. So, once you're done with your D machine, you got two choices between you. You got that hook route, you got underground, you got the moon. What drove you to the moon?
I don't really know. I felt like I could get through it faster than getting into the underground and then checking all of those spots. Like getting to each of the moon boss spots is a fairly quick process compared to, top a tower, tower key, front and back a dwarf, down into the Fey March, Luca, I still had Baron on the table that I could have gotten access to. So I just felt like it was a better use of my time. I figured what would happen, and I'd have to go through the hook route anyway, but I was really hoping, especially once I got that package from the last place, I was like, oh, let this be, the last boss I need, and then I don't have to go underground, but it was not to be.
Yeah, we did call out that last package check. It made sense. You got the package, might as well follow it through to the end. That would have been a fun timeline to be in. Unfortunate, but yeah.
Yeah, whenever I chase moon like that, especially if I'm chasing before I go underground, and I'm left with, I had two bosses that would give me go mode. I figure I've got to chase what I get from the moon at that point. So it worked out for the most part, I guess.
Yeah, well, certainly did.
I wasn't sure about how my reflect fight would go with Z, I was kind of, I don't know, the whole seed was not a party I was used to, so that was nice to get to play with that on these flags, something I'm uncomfortable with. And I had Edge, and he was stacked, but no Bacchus that I found. I wasn't going to go poking around for him because I knew Z fight was going to be reflex, so. And really, Bahamut Rydia was enough. You know, once I got hurt, it's like, oh, okay. Well, the seed's telling me use Rydia. I'll use Rydia. Sure. You know.
Yeah. Well, you put on the clinic in that fight, so you made it look easy.
Yeah, I'm glad it didn't go sideways. I actually was over on damage. I don't know. I miscounted something somewhere and thought I was going to be a little short and was nervous, but then the crack boom went.
That always fun, that panic, like, oh, done, now.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, oh, I gotta hit the buttons now.
Well, I'm glad you had a fun seed. I'm glad you enjoyed it. That's kind of it for me for questions. You got anything else, Dave?
So you played in Adamant Cup, right, Potato?
Yes.
How different does it feel doing all bus hunts now versus the all objectives previous tournament?
It's a whole. I enjoy the difference quite a bit. I wasn't sure I would. I've spoken up on the ladder and in feedback before about not really preferring boss hunts when they're mixed in with objectives. But this setup with all boss hunts changes the way you look at it from the start, especially with the other flags like See No Earn. So I've been really enjoying, you know, trying to figure out how to play it. I still don't think I've done that, you know, figure out how I want to play it in general. So it's been a lot of fun working through that process, and I'm very excited to see how the tournament goes with this. I think there's a lot of opportunity for gambles that maybe didn't exist as strongly in the objective-based tournaments. So.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
It's been a blast so far, both flag sets, although I definitely think I'm going to be sticking mostly to Blue Moon myself.
Hey, well, I look forward to seeing you in Blue Moon.
It's going to be fun.
That's all I had. You have anything else, Solaris?
Nope, that's it for me. Just GG's again, Potato. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure to watch a race.
Glad to be here as always. Thank you, Dave and Solaris, and Raging Levine and Esgrunt and Scala and everybody else who works in this community and helps put on all these races. It's an ordeal. Like, there's so much going on in this community, and it's a blast to be even, a small part of. So. Pleasure to be here. I always love racing for y'all, and really looking forward to the tournament.
Very much appreciate those words, Potatoes. You have a good one now.
You too.
All right, and that was Fried Potato, our first place on Restream and sixth place overall. Mecha in the Z fight missed a little bit of what happened. I believe this is his second run.
It is.
Might have had something go a little sideways.
Asura did Asura things.
Yes, Asura works 66% of the time.
That's the short answer to what happened.
Yeah. Ashura loves to roll. Okay, so Ashura can roll either a really amazing cure or a really amazing cure or life 1, and she sure loves to roll life 1.
Yeah.
Once you're at Soramus.
You'll get all the cure 3s and cure 4s you want, right up until it's critical.
Yeah. This is one of the things where I felt like I would have felt incentivized as a runner to still get the nukes up and running, just so that I don't have to kind of worry about this exact scenario, and I don't have to go hunt down cure 3s. Because with cure 3s, and I don't know how much shopping Mecha's done, I don't know if he has a large number of them, but cure 3s is another way that you get through doing Zerker strats or hybrid strats, where you do have to go through, all 100,000 whatnot of Zoromus's hit points, meaning where you do have to do some healing.
That's the risk you run with an unreliable healer.
It is, and I mean, it's a very reasonable risk.
It works majority of the time.
Right, I'd say in most cases, Ashura should work out for you.
Problem is, RNG doesn't care what you think the odds say.
Yeah, it's very true, especially short-term RNG. Funnel Cake's also having found his way through the seed, also at the Zoromus fight. We get some dueling Zoromus action.
We do, and Jabron just needs to make his way to Zot. Good news
Yeah,
for
the
Mecha.
Zot-
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, the Zot Fade is very defensible. It is two bosses, but it's a slow chuck. It's... Sometimes Rando just gonna Rando.
So, do you know where Mecha found that pass? Because that saved him a good bit of time.
I do not. I was thinking about that while we were talking with, we were talking with Potato.
Oh.
Ah.
Our tracker pointing out they came from the heart.
So... kind of net negative, I guess. Net neutral, I mean, not net neutral getting a pass out of the Twin Harp. It's probably the best reward you could have gotten out of just finishing it, so yeah, pretty good for him. See, this is where you get rewarded for doing Twin Harp on Restream.
Yep.
Oh, also, speaking of absolutely nothing, before I forget, we will have an announcement at the end of this race by Scala Kitty. This is more information for our upcoming tournament, so make sure to stick around for that. Also, big hearts to Scala in general, because, I mean, admins in general, we've all been working pretty hard on getting this tournament put together, but Scala especially has just put in an enormous amount of work. Absolutely huge, huge respect to her.
That's not nerfed. Okay, bit of a low roll on Sid.
We're at rocks, even if Kane is the only one left.
Come on, Kane, bring us home. This swing's got to kill or...
Hey,
it does, okay. If that didn't kill, we were going to have some problems.
GG's to Mecha, well done. With an official race bot time of 1 hour, 34 minutes, and 53 seconds.
And we'll see
Funnel
if
Cake's
Mecha
kind of
can
hot
join
on
us.
his heels. Yeah, we'll see if he's available for interview. Meanwhile, for Funnel Cakes, the nukes are flying, the Cure 3s are coming out. I think he's going to be A-okay in this one.
Yeah, this looks like, same thing we saw from Potato, just reflect, reflect, reflect.
Yep, and we are joined by Mecha. GG's, Mecha.
GG's, thank you.
So first question I want to ask you about is, you get a Tele, you get a Darkness right away, but you've got all this power, and you chose to go down the hook route. What guided you that way versus maybe doing a D-Machine?
I had enough power, basically. Like, you saw me, like, there was... The only thing that was trouble was the King-Queen spot bomb. Right. Everything else that I did after going underground was fine. Like I'm not... Like, a D-Machine grind would have been okay, but it wouldn't have been a 10-item grind. And you're almost always getting 10 key items on these flags, in my experience. Either because the moon forces it to you. You're often not too hungry for experience either. So, like, yes, FF4FE is a bit of a snowball game, but it wasn't anything that seemed to get in the way. I think it's a fine play, but I don't think it would have been all that helpful comparatively, but
Yeah, I think that's very fair. And we were talking about this as you were running down the hook route. You saw it was DKC, so you know that that's effectively free for you to get through. And there were really only a couple of bosses that could be at King Queen that could really give that team any particular trouble, and Mom Bomb just
Right.
happened to be one of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you played the
And-
odds game, and it made a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, and then I think trying it, messing up, trying it, like coming to the fact that it's not just variance, like she's just too fast, and then switching to Battle Speed 3 and winning easily, like was the tale of that, and I'm fine with that. Like, it's not perfect, but it could be a lot worse.
Now, another question that I want to ask, I think I know the answer to this, but it's fun anyways. You get a spoon pretty early, and you know Edward's in the seed. Did you have any thought to that spoon word?
The thought came to mind, and then the team was powerful enough. Spoonward would have had less HP than Rydia at that fight, and we saw how little that survivability existed. Like, I don't think Edward would have survived like particularly well. We would have had for defensive gear for him like he can't even wield a strength ring, so like a black shirt and like a glass helm, like that's nothing, right? Like he'd essentially be paper, right? And like I'm just not interested in that, right? I'm not, like, it's just not that much power at that point, right? Like, and it dies all the and Edward just dies all the time. So the other thing is that if I have an edge, right, like I have a use for the spoon, right? Like if you don't have an edge, Spoonward becomes a lot more enticing because it gives you a use for the spoon, right? Because otherwise the spoon is just a blank, right? So if I didn't have edge, I would have looked a lot harder at Edward in my mind, right? Like, because he's not, like, all of the drawbacks aside, right? Like, he does have niche uses, and a 255 power weapon is strong, right? Like, if you can make him survivable, you can use him to chew through some particular spots, or even use hide tricks, right? Like against certain bosses. It just so happens that hide tricks weren't really on the table for any of the bosses we had to beat, right? You look at our list and it's like, oh, hide doesn't help against any of these, right? Like, not really, unless you make help against Golbez at best. Right, like if you get a hide off, like, but that's it, right? Like, and there are plenty of tricks to deal with a Golbez in general, anyway.
And he's pretty much paper at Soromas, and he's a huge liability. Yeah. That was my thinking too. It's why I wouldn't have taken the Edward, but it's certainly an interesting decision point. And for you at Restream, all three of your opponents did choose to do that D machine, so you were really the only one that was left with that kind of interesting choice.
I mean, we ended up finding sirens in the underworld, which is more common than not, much more common than not. And I just planted a bunch of eggs to get close to Rydia having the power, since we were so close on bosses, right? And then I missed my kind of slightly long shots to go for never having launched the whale, right? Especially once I got the pass out of Twin Harp, I was kind of like, okay, right? Like, if it's still on the Earth, right? Like, we have one spot left to check. If it's still on the Earth, I saved 2 minutes from launching the whale, right? So I felt like that was a reasonable odds gamble. Not great, but I think the payoff was reasonable there once I got past. But yeah, I mean, once that missed, it was straight to Moon and start face checking. And yeah, like, I don't feel, if I had gone to Moon, as I many times often would do, like the pure odds play there, it's like, oh, you have 2 spots left on Earth and 6 on the Moon, right? Like, if I'd done that earlier, I would have had a much more competitive time with fried dough, right? So I think that I'm fine with that. Like, I was trying something a little different in the kind of spirit of the seed, of the spirit of gambles, where I like to start, feeling that out. Because normally, like I said, the odds play there is to do the Moon. And I felt like maybe I should try the other things.
We saw Potato on Restream. So Potato got a package out of the Masamune altar, and he did Moon early, so he similarly felt incentivized to try that gamble, because it would have given him a chance to not go underground at all if his boss was there, because it would have been his crystal. I think those situations are going to come up with boss hunts, right? And it's going to be very interesting.
I think that a lot of these races are going to be decided by who faded what that was irrelevant / who faded what that was basically required. Like, for example, right, like in this seed, right, like we knew we had one boss at that spot, but if there were two at that spot via Baron Key, right, like we were locked behind Baron Key to ever finish the seed, right? Like that can happen. Like when there are 3 bosses behind a key item, when there are 2 bosses behind a key item, right? Like, you know, or like Earth, right? Like Earth was a double required, right? So like, yes, you can get the Zot 1 spot, but the Zot 2 spot was also required. Right, so it's like those key items, right? Like if you happen to miss them, right? Like, because a lot of the time you'll end up not digging for key items as hard either, right? You'll be like, okay, this key item gates 1 boss, so what? Right, this key item gates 1 boss, so what? Right, but you know, and Giant's a good example of that too. Like Giant, right? Like Giant is a 2 boss location gated by darkness, right? That's 2 bosses is better than 1. Right, like it can almost, if you do the moon and you're not done yet, you almost always do Giant next, right? Like just because it's what other place are you going to get 2 bosses for like 1 dungeon, right?
Yeah,
So,
just some bosses that are tricky. Or this seed, funny enough, we could see you could just do Zot 1 without actually having to have the Earth Crystals. Kind of funny quirk of this seed.
Mylon being
anyways,
somewhere easily gettable too.
It was at the White Spear altar.
Okay.
yeah.
That makes sense. So yeah, I mean, and that's the case too. Like sometimes it's like you end up with that where Moon has 2 bosses on it, and like the Moon became required, right?
Yeah.
Like the same deal, right? Like all of those things. It's like Darkness is the most likely required item because of its boss density behind it, but it is by no means, in my experience on doing seeds on the ladder, by no means the only place where you get these double boss required, situations where the Earth Crystal comes.
Certainly not. Yeah. Anyways, thank you so much, Mecca, for doing the race. I'm going to make sure that we can get Funnel Cake's time to head on in, and then I think Jim Brown's going to be ready soon enough too. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. All right. Thank
you so much. It was a pleasure to watch you. I loved the aggression that you showed this race.
I am
it was
nothing.
a lot of fun to watch.
I am nothing if not aggressive and willing to gamble. I just need the coin flip to come out my way in the tournament.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, and they will sometimes. That's what's great about it.
Sometimes do.
Yeah.
In theory. All right. Yeah. Talk to you later.
All right. Thanks so much, Mecca. Bye.
Bye.
And we are joined by Funnel Cakes right now. GG's Funnel Cakes.
Thank you.
We'll start with something really straightforward. What do you think of the seed overall?
I was all right with it until I had the emulator issue. I was feeling good, and then I kind of fell apart a little bit with what I wanted to do.
Okay, I was gonna ask about that. What happened at the Wool Castle? Looked like you.
So I had my seeds folder up because when I picked a seed just to have open for cropping, and I just forgot to lower it, so it was just kind of sitting behind my tracker and emulator. And I clicked on my tracker to mark elements, and I misclicked back onto my game onto a random seed.
Oh no! Oh.
Okay, that's what happened.
And then I had to scramble to find the right seed. I was able to find the seed to open up again, but I'd already closed them to be like, oh, need to find where I am. And then I hadn't saved since before Dwarf.
I'm so sorry. That's
It was a little frustrating because it kind of put a wrench in what I was gonna do, and so then I just started going for Hail Marys.
So at that point, did you just decide if Dwarf has value, so be it, or if the Wool has value, so be it?
Yeah, pretty much. I was like, well, I'm gonna have to try and claw back anytime I can by doing things that I consider not normal or normal routing thinking. So doing Harp where I did it, going back and checking the second giant boss, things like that. Just trying to do the fringe checks.
Yeah, I think it's smart to do these things to try to get back one, anytime that you can, and two, do things that other people won't be doing, basically, and just kind of spike yourself a win. It makes a lot of sense to me.
You recovered very well from that, and I completely agree with your play. You have an error, you got to find some way to pick up time.
Yeah, exactly. I actually was considering, after doing Harp, doing Zot 1, which would have actually been great. That would have been a fantastic move, but I'm like, no, I didn't. When I walked into Harp, I was like, I didn't leave a save outside in a good spot. It's back at Baron, so I guess that plan is out the window.
I think there's going to be at least one seed throughout this entire tournament season where, like, Zot doesn't show up anytime soon, and one of those bosses is going to be at Zot 1. That's absolutely at, like, the back of my mind, right? Same with Package.
Yeah, I was glad I didn't find the package. I'm like, oh man, because I do not like sitting through that check.
Yeah. So, what do you think about boss hunts? What do you think about the flag set?
I've been enjoying it. I think the hardest part is determining when to go into just pure face check mode. And it's made me start thinking about where key items lead to bosses, what key items are left at lock bosses, and kind of, the threshold of, all right, this number, I've got this many left, this many spots open, it's time to just go.
I think that calculus is going to be in play for a lot of us, right? Figuring out when to, do exactly what you just said. It's certainly, I feel very similarly about, like, oh, when do I make those decisions? And even then, it's like, rando's still going to rando, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's trying to be good about leaving saves all over the place to hop around. The one thing I'm trying to work on the most, at least for practice right now, is making sure I've got 3 good moon saves if I'm doing a moon dive, and leaving some spots on Earth to make sure I can hop around to find all the bosses and then go back and efficiently check for key items.
The multiple saves, that's very smart. Actually, very smart, yeah. I got one last question for you, I suppose. Wyvern at the Giant. How did you feel about that?
It's one of those ones I see. I don't think it's hard because he doesn't nuke for that hard, like once you get past the mega nuke.
Yeah.
But it's just so much Wyvern to go through. It's just such a long fight.
We were joking that tower was nuclear powered because it had both Wyvern and Bahamut.
Yeah, I thought the dragons living up there was cute.
And everyone was up there to get nuked. It's just... Well, that's kind of all the questions I had. Do you have anything else, Dave?
I think I'm good at TG tonight, and good luck in the tournament coming up.
Thank you very much, and thanks everyone for putting on the race, and to my fellow competitors.
Yeah, and thanks for putting on such a good show. It was a pleasure to watch, even despite the... So sorry about your emulator troubles. Hopefully, we'll kind of... It's a one and done. It happened, never again.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna make sure I have that screen lowered at all times. It's gonna be perfect.
There you go. Yep. We learn. All right, but for now, thanks so much, and see you later.
Thank you.
All right, and that was Funnel Cakes. Gonna go see if we're gonna get a J-Burn interview. Yes, we will. It'll take just a moment, though. So while we are waiting, do a couple things. One, make sure to stick around. After our interview with J-Brun, we are gonna Scala's gonna come in and do a couple of announcements for our upcoming tournament. So stick around for that. And this is also a great opportunity to shout out S-Grunt and Raging Levine, our restreamer and our tracker. None of this would happen without them. They're amazing. And also shout out NG Dave here, who I've had a pleasant time doing commentary with.
Shout out to you, Solaris. It's been great working with you today.
Yeah, we're okay, right?
Had some fun in here.
I'm
Talked
still
about the scene
thinking
a little
about.
bit.
Yeah, I'm still thinking about fried calamari that tastes like chewing on tires. That's just.
I apologize for nothing.
Just. I don't know why that visual just. Like I'm imagining literal tire, you know?
Well,
like
if you've ever
rubber.
had really bad fried calamari, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
I have, and I do. Meanwhile, we're joined by Jabron. GG's, Jabron.
Okay, thank you.
All right, well, the first question I gotta ask is about Wyvern on the Giant. What was going on in your mind going through that? Very well done to get through it.
I was hoping there was going to be something at CPU spot after getting through that, but unfortunately, that didn't pay out. Oh well.
No, but it would have been amazing, and like maybe the odds weren't super good, but if you had spiked that, like literally nobody else, you would think, right, would probably have done that. It would have been such a huge advantage. I think it was. I really respected the play a lot.
Yeah, it was kind of. It took a few tries, didn't it? Tried to the chocobo strats that wasn't putting out quite enough damage. So, but I kind of figured after, like I was going to D-machine. I mean, given Tella and sort of early darkness.
Yep.
So you're going to do that, you might as well check the bosses. So.
Yeah, that's part of the advantage of being able to do the D machine and just see the bosses there. They just, this seed didn't happen to be required. Other seeds, they will be.
Yep. Rando gonna rando.
Yep. But okay, so then after that, get through your giant, and then you're kind of left with the choice of continuing to go underground or go to the moon. Kind of what was on your mind there? What'd you end up choosing?
It was really a toss-up. Like a mental coin flip.
Yeah.
See, without the pass, I didn't really want to go to the moon yet, and possibly face check or clear out all of that. And then if I didn't happen upon the pass, I have to come all the way back and go all the way down again. So that double dip would have felt bad. So
that's a very
underground instead.
Yeah, you also had stuff pulling you underground. There was a tower key, there was the pan kind of in hand, right?
Yep.
These were all things we were kind of talking out, and it was interesting to see because on Restream, all four of y'all kind of went different directions in a way. Three of you went D-machine, but then, kind of hook route versus darkness. We kind of saw both. So it's pretty interesting.
Oh, so I was in good company then.
Yeah. Speaking of good company, upcoming Blue Moon Flags, Red Moon Flags tournament. How you feeling about the upcoming tourney?
Well, I think I'm solidly in the blue camp. I think I get absolutely killed in the Red Moon. Lots of good players going to be in there. So the only chance I've got is in the Blue Moon tournament.
Hey, there'll be some good players in the Blue Moon tournament. You're in there.
That's right. That's absolutely right. This seed might not have worked. This seed might not have worked out in your favor. Fading Zod and doing the giant just happened to on this seed be the things you couldn't do. But other seeds, yeah, I think you are often a force to be reckoned with, sir.
Yeah, I mean, not to discount like anyone going to the Blue Moon.
Of course tournament. Not. Yeah. We're all here to have fun. We're all here to try our best. Other folks might have different motivations about how well they want to do, how much they want to put in, et cetera, et cetera. But at the end of the day, we're all We're all just trying to have a good time and enjoy ourselves, right?
Exactly. Yeah, my goal is just to maybe win a few more races than I did in the Adamant Cup. So if I can pull out 3 wins somehow, I'll call that a good tournament for me.
I love that goal. That's great. Well, I'm a bit tapped out of questions. Do you have anything, Dave?
I think this would be a good time to get to our announcements. Thank you for being restreamed, Jbrun, and GG's tonight.
All right, thanks, Ace.
Yeah, it was
See you next time.
absolutely a pleasure to watch. Okay, and that was Jbrun, and we are joined by Ascala. I believe it's announcement time.
It's announcement time.
Announcement time.
Everyone's favorite time. So hi everyone. So I'm going to go ahead, drop this link. I'm going to also go drop some links in the Discord. But boop, signups are open. So, and I will be sure when this gets posted on YouTube to also include the link to the rules document, the link to the sign up. I'm going to be tweeting about this. It's now in the Discord. So if you are excited about Highway to the Zenith Zone 5, the Dual Moons, you can now go ahead and sign up. Just so folks know, this is mentioned on the Discord. Signups are open until August 13th. So you have until the 13th to figure out which moon you would like to join. Just a very quick note, you do have to declare which moon you would like to join at signup. You are allowed to change that decision until signups close on August 13th. That's actually going to be at 3 a.m. Eastern, which kind of equates to midnight Pacific time. So please go ahead, try out the flags. That is the big thing. We are very much encouraging. That's why we for the weekly races, that's why we're doing Blue Moon this week, and we're going next week we'll be doing Red Moon races. So please go ahead and get some experience with it, get a good feel for how these flags are, because once the tournament's underway, you cannot change which moon you're going to be fighting to be the champion of. That is sort of like the main thing. We're going to be setting up like discussion spaces in the Discord. We'll go through some of the different like updates and changes. We listened to a lot of feedback from Adamant Cup, so we've done some changes. Like for example, we reduced the amount of stream delay down from 15 minutes down to 10 minutes to align better with some other randomizer communities. We went back to 10 minutes before start time seed rolls, and lots of that came from runner feedback. So I want to let everyone know that we have been listening to your feedback. We want to do right by y'all and and make this a good experience for everyone, and that's runners, restreamers, and admin included, because this is a community where it takes absolutely every single one of us. And Solaris is very kind to offer me gratitude earlier, but I will also offer it back. All the admins have been working so very hard on this. We're really looking forward to it, and we really hope that everyone out there in the community, whether you plan to race, whether you plan to help out a restream, whether you just love watching races, hello to everyone on YouTube who puts us on in the background while you're doing other things. We also appreciate all of y'all. And yeah, I just hope it's going to be a good time. Are Dave, Solaris, y'all excited?
Oh, I'm super hyped for this. It's going to be a blast. Yeah. I'm already loving the talk about, I think I'm going to do Blue Moon, or maybe I'll do Red Moon. I'm really curious to see who's going to end up in each of these tournaments, and then of course the idea, right, that 4 winners total, right? So
Yes.
to get knocked down to the waning bracket, the lower bracket, that's still your chance, right? To
Yes.
get through that and come out a winner. So yeah, I just think it's gonna. We've never put on a tournament like this before, not quite like this.
No, this is a very different tournament, and but I think that's going to be good. I think it's going to be interesting to have these sort of 2 different player pools, to have multiple winners. I sort of mentioned this on Discord. We were very much influenced by going way back to Zima Zone 2 and Hummingway Open, and those 2 parallel tournaments. And we've been wanting to do something like that again, and Zima Zone 5 was kind of the right time and place to do that. So really just thank you everyone who has been showing up for the different tournaments, who have been so kind as to take your time to give us feedback. We do really appreciate the amount of passion and the amount of dedication this community has, and we try to always answer that back with our own passion and dedication.
So yeah, absolutely. To pull the veil back even just slightly about the dedication that we have. I mean, at Advents, we've been talking about this tournament for like a couple months now. The time spent planning, proposals we put together. This wasn't the original. Not that it wasn't the original. It wasn't the only tournament plan we put together, right? So I mean, we really, really wanted to do right by everybody involved, and I feel really good about it.
Yes, for just to let you all know, we've been working on some sort of idea for Zima Zone 5 since April.
Yep. Yep.
But that's because we want to do right by y'all, and we want y'all to have a really good time. This is going to be a little bit of a shorter tournament. It might be no more than 9 weeks we're expecting.
9 weeks. Yeah.
Yep. So we but even so, we still hope that folks are going to have a lot of fun in it. But anyway, I think we need to take all this good free enterprise energy somewhere. Do we all know where we're going?
We do. We're going to be heading over to Tall Grant, who is running a Blue Moon async. This is async TDBTFK. I'll put that in chat. So if that's an async you want to run, you might want to dip out at this point.
Yes, please run the asyncs. Please also play on the ladder, because I know the ladder is a big pet project of Solaris's. And we've added Blue Moon as one of your ladder flag sets if you want to practice.
Yep, that is a great place to go practice. Practice on ladder. But yeah, for now, let's all take this great energy over to Tall Grant, and no spoilers. Yep, there's that link in chat. If you're watching on YouTube, it's FF4FE ladder.com to find our Discord and get information for ladder. But yeah. Otherwise, let's go on over and say hi, and thanks for watching.
Thanks, y'all.